The wingman is standing by. In Detroit last night, Cade Cunningham had 22. Pistons beat the Nuggets in a good one, 109-107. Wild ending. Jamal Murray was fouled on not one but two three-point attempts in the final 3.5 seconds while trailing by 3 both times, but he missed at least one foul shot in both of the instances. And in the end, Detroit holds on to win. In Oklahoma City, SGA had 29 points for the Thunder as the the Thunder beat the Pelicans for the 13th straight time. It's a 9-point win. SGA's 118th straight game with at least 20 points. That's just 8 behind Wilt Chamberlain's NBA record of 126 straight 20-point games. And then in Philly, Joel Embiid hyped up his crowd and hyped up his teammates after slamming down this alley-oop, going up and throwing it down. Embiid had 29 points as the Sixers beat the shorthanded Bucks 139-122. Milwaukee, of course, without Giannis as he deals with a right calf strain. He also deals with the approaching trade deadline, and that means we got some business to deal with Brian Windhorst. The Windman is up with us early. Wendy, again, February 5th is around the corner. Giannis has a calf, and there's a lot of conversation. What do we need to know as we get to the trade deadline?
Yeah, the Bucks are out there on the phones, Greeny, calling to try to acquire talent, which is both fascinating and confusing the rest of the league because this team is going nowhere. They're now, as you mentioned, 3-12 without Giannis, and the indication would be that they need to either tank or trade Giannis or do both. They are now in 7th in terms of their draft pick position, and even though they have to swap their pick swap, it would be swapped with New Orleans, who's at the top. This team is 3 games out of the play-in right now, and Giannis has no timetable to return. So right now they are not actively looking to trade Giannis, but the league is waiting for that moment to happen.
The injury that a lot of people will cast a skeptical eye. Oh, it's sort of convenient that he gets hurt right before the trade deadline and all the rest of that. What, if any, impact does his injury have on the possibility of him being traded?
Yeah, this injury is significant because this is the 4th time in 19 months he has had a calf strain. No matter what you believe, that is a concerning number. That is another reason why there is a pathway here for the Bucks to shut this down and not trade Giannis and tank and try to get their draft pick so that they can reevaluate their future. That said, that is not an indication that they are making. And Giannis, his season is not over. 4 to 6 weeks is the expectation, but the Bucks didn't announce a timetable, Greeny, and that's because I think they want to leave the tanking option open.
So I'm going to ask you to do something that reporters hate to do, and that is guess. Would it be your expectation that he does get traded before February 5th or not?
When I talk to teams in the league, they all believe he's going to get traded by next Thursday. Team after team after team that I talk to are preparing for it. My view is that there is another pathway here for them to tank this season, get a high draft pick, return to Giannis and say, Giannis, we're going to give you a $275 million extension this fall. How do you feel about playing with a young star player? Will that interest you? And if he's not interested, then you revisit a trade situation in the summer.
Okay, and then quickly, there's 2 other names that people are interested in hearing about, Anthony Davis and John Morant. What, if anything, should we know about them a week and a day away?
Yeah, both of them are also injured right now. This is not an ideal situation to trade a player. None of those injuries are long-term, but their markets are kind of flat. Like in the case of John Morant, he would love, I think, to go to the Miami Heat, but the Miami Heat are not even going to entertain that when there's a possibility of trading for Giannis. So these 2 guys will wait on the side of the runway and potentially not get anything done until the summer as well.
That's the Windman, always there when we need him. The trade deadline is a week from tomorrow. Thank you, Brian Windhorst. And again, tonight we got a good doubleheader coming your way. You will see Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs hosting Luka and LeBron and the Lakers. That's at 7 Eastern. And then Wemby and the Spurs taking on KD and the Rockets. We'll have Ernie, Kenny, Charles, and Shaq tipping off our coverage.
This is for you. Those iconic words from LeBron echoed through the arena in 2016 after he led the Cleveland Cavaliers to their first ever NBA title. The kid from Akron had finally delivered on his promise to his home state. Now in his 23rd season, LeBron is the longest tenured player in NBA history, and tonight he returns to the land in what may very well be his final game in Cleveland. With retirement rumors circulating and his contract status uncertain for next year, we take a look back at the Kings' first game back in Cleveland with the Heat in 2010.
Since 1979, if it happened in sports, it was on SportsCenter.
Back, with your backs out. They're not going to get them.
Booyah! This is SportsCenter forever.
Cleveland rocks, but would Miami roll with the Cavs' former frontman back in town?
It was homecoming for LeBron James, but no one in Cleveland was celebrating the king. So after the decision and then the departure, Thursday brought the return. James said he couldn't sleep the night before or in the afternoon before the game. Fans probably couldn't sleep either, waiting for their chance to let the king hear it. And we take a listen to the introduction as he was introduced at Quicken Loans Arena.
From 6'8" from St. Vincent St. Mary High School, number 6, LeBron James.
Playoff-like atmosphere. Here's his first touch. Fans were all over James all through the game, but then James was all over them. First shot attempt puts the Heat up 4-0. Later in the first, when the game tied at 17, he really starts to get it going. Look at the drive and the reverse finish. The Heat of 1917, at that point, those are the kinds of plays used to get them off their feet in the third. The drive, lefty finish. How about three? Bang, bang, bang. The Heat up 35 at that point. You wonder if the Cleveland fans are going to start booing their own team at some point. Bucket and the foul there. He said he wanted to be aggressive in the third quarter, stop the Cavaliers from making any possible run. Mission accomplished. This shot, high degree of difficulty. Antoine Jamison on him. The fadeaway from the corner. Shot that one from Shaker Heights. And then had a few words for the Cavaliers bench. 24 in the third. A Quicken Loans Arena record. LeBron on the bench, object flies out of the stands, lands right behind him. The Cavaliers bring in more security behind the Heat bench. That's where James stayed for the fourth quarter. No further incidents. Police said they had just one arrest and 4 ejections, but pretty much an uneventful night as far as fan interference was concerned, but a very eventful night as far as James was concerned.
All right, Anscape senior writer David Dennis Jr. is with us now to preview some of tonight's game. That highlight was amazing, by the way. I was kind of thrown back by it. But this is the Lakers' last trip to Cleveland this year. But you're also not convinced that this is LeBron's last game in Cleveland. Why?
No, it's not his last game in Cleveland. He'll gonna play another year, but also I'm not sure it's not gonna be his last time in a Cleveland Cavaliers uniform. Like, who knows what's gonna happen next year? This Lakers thing feels like it is done. There's a lot of turmoil. There's smoke to that fire with the Genie Bus thing. And if there's one thing we know about LeBron James, look, Scooby, you're talking to somebody who has devised what I call the
Warriors fans, lock in right now, because what's happening around the league is quietly opening a door that almost nobody is ready to talk about seriously yet. Morant and the Golden State Warriors. I know, it still sounds like fantasy to some people, but when you actually look at the timing, the market, and the way the NBA trade landscape is shaping up, this is one of those scenarios that goes from crazy rumor to, wait, this actually makes sense way faster than people expect. First, let's talk about the moment the Warriors are living in. Steph Curry is still elite, not good for his age, not solid veteran, but still one of the most dangerous offensive players on the planet. Every defense in the league still bends around him. Every game plan still starts with, how do we survive Steph? But the truth is also uncomfortable. This window isn't infinite. Steph is 37, Draymond is older. The margin for error is shrinking every season. The Warriors don't need another nice role player. They don't need another maybe he develops in 2 years prospect. They need someone who can take real pressure off Steph right now. Someone who can create chaos, collapse defenses, and punish teams that load up on Curry. And that's where Ja becomes terrifyingly interesting. Because Ja is basically the opposite of everything the Warriors currently struggle with. Golden State is still one of the smartest teams in the league, one of the best passing teams, one of the best off-ball movement systems ever created. But what they lack is raw downhill violence. They don't consistently have someone who can just say, give me the ball, I'm getting to the rim no matter what. Morant is that guy. He doesn't ask for permission. He doesn't wait for the perfect set. He forces the issue. He breaks defensive schemes by pure athletic will. Now imagine this. Defense is trapping Steph at half court, terrified of his gravity, and instead of the ball swinging around to another shooter who might hesitate, it goes to Ja Morant attacking a tilted defense. That's not just dangerous, that's unfair. That's the kind of combination that makes defensive coordinators lose sleep. You either stay home on shooters and let Ja live in the paint, or you collapse and give Steph open threes. There is no good answer. What makes this even more realistic is the current market around Ja. Right now, he's injured. Not long-term, not career-altering, but enough to freeze his trade value in the short term. Teams don't like making massive moves when a star is sidelined. Everyone wants certainty. And that hesitation creates opportunity. It slows the bidding war. It lowers the emotional frenzy. It gives smart front offices a chance to plan instead of panic. And Golden State is one of the few franchises in the NBA that actually thrives in moments like this. They don't usually chase hype. They wait, they observe, they strike when the noise dies down. Another huge factor here is that the league's attention is somewhere else. Giannis, Anthony Davis, big names, massive headlines. Ja Morant is almost being treated like a side story right now. And that's exactly when the real moves happen in the NBA. When everyone is staring at the front door, the smart teams sneak in through the back. From a basketball perspective, the fit is way better than people think. Some fans worry about spacing, but that's missing the point. The Warriors don't need Ja to be Steph. They don't need him to shoot 10 threes a game. They need him to be Ja, to attack, to draw fouls, to force rotations, to make defenders commit. The Warriors system is literally designed to amplify players like that. It's built on movement, reads, and exploiting defensive overreactions. Ja Morant causes overreactions by himself. And mentally, this could be exactly what this team needs. You can feel it sometimes with Golden State. They're still smart, still skilled, but not always feared the way they used to be. Ja brings fear back, not respect, fear. The kind of fear that makes big men step back from the rim, the kind of fear that makes defenders hesitate on closeouts, the kind of fear that shifts the emotional balance of a game before it even starts. There's also a narrative angle that people underestimate. Steph Curry is one of the greatest leaders the NBA has ever seen, but he's not loud, he's not confrontational, he's not aggressive in that traditional alpha sense. Ja is. Ja plays with emotion, swagger, edge. Sometimes too much, sure, but in the right environment, that edge becomes fuel instead of chaos. And Golden State might be the best environment in the league to channel that energy properly. Veteran core, championship culture, no need to carry the franchise alone, no need to be the only star. Just come in and be electric. Financially and structurally, this is also more realistic than fantasy trades usually are. The Warriors still have assets. They still have young players teams would want. They still have contracts that can be moved. And most importantly, they still have something every rebuilding team values: future relevance. Trading with Golden State isn't just about players. It's about draft positioning years from now when the Steph era is over. Those picks could become extremely valuable. And that's the part people ignore. From another team's perspective, betting on the Golden State's future decline is actually logical. Steph won't play forever. Draymond won't play forever. Those late 2027 picks could be gold. That's how real blockbuster trades get done. So when you zoom out and really look at this, Ja Morant to the Warriors isn't some Twitter fantasy. It's a scenario built on timing, market conditions, basketball fit, and strategic logic. It's the kind of move that doesn't feel obvious today, but in 6 months, everyone looks back and says, how did we not see this coming? Because if you're the Warriors, the question is simple. Do you want to slowly fade into a respectable but harmless team? Or do you want one more real shot at breaking the league? One more moment where every night feels dangerous again? One more era where opponents circle your name on the schedule and feel anxiety? Ja Morant gives you that. Not tomorrow, not guaranteed, but as a possibility, as a path, as a vision, it might be the most realistic superstar scenario left for the Warriors that actually matches Steph's timeline. And if this ever happens, if Steph Curry and Ja Morant ever share the same backcourt in real life, not in highlights, not in edits, not in imagination, the NBA is going to have a serious problem on its hands. Because that combination isn't just talent, it's chaos, gravity, speed, fear, and legacy all colliding in one place. So, Dub Nation, the real question isn't, is this crazy? The real question is, if the door opens, are the Warriors brave enough to walk through it?